Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America, citizens of the free world and all the ships at sea. It's Tom the Bold Rascal again, and I'm still working on that from the last show, my James Bond Martini. And I just want to talk about James Bond and the James Bond films. The first one I ever saw was Dr. No. And I happened to be in the Army at the time, and I remember it must have been a weekend, I went down to the main post theater, and it was incredible. I mean, here you had this music, then, dun, 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 and all of a sudden you're looking down the barrel of a gun in this figure, and pew, and I thought, wow, now you see James Bond. I mean, what is he doing? He's doing everything politically incorrect when you first see him. He's smoking a cigarette, he's having a drink, and he's gambling, and he's flirting with some fabulous-looking brunette. Anyway, after seeing a couple more of the Bond films, I decided, this guy's the best get-dressed guy in the world, So at that point in time, I was stationed in Germany, and in the main PX in Frankfurt, they had Alexander's of London would make you, tailor-made suits for a pretty good price. So I started doing that. I must say, I came out of the U.S. Army probably one of the best-dressed guys around. But the Bond films, to my mind, I think probably to everybody that loves the Bond films, is Sean Connery was James Bond. And then we had George Lazenby came in on His Majesty's Secret Service, and everybody was kind of disappointed and all that. And then Roger Moore came in, who was actually, I believe, a friend of Connery's. And Moore realized he couldn't do what Sean Connery was doing, but he'll make it his own. So it was a much more tongue-in-cheek, very lighter touch, a little slightly comedic thing. And that worked fine. And then we came to Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan. Where do I begin? Let's put it this way. After watching these two guys, I was like longing for George Lazenby. George Lazenby was actually pretty good. The unfortunate thing about Mr. Lazenby was he was replacing the irreplaceable Mr. Connery. I actually heard Timothy Dalton in an interview once when he was playing Bond. He said, well, James Bond's a rather dark character. And I went, holy crap, mister. What are you, living in a cave outside of town? Of course he's a dark character. He's got a license to whack people, to grease them, to rub them out, to smoke them, And then we had Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan, every time he's in a fight or something or falls down, he's like, James Bond in Dr. No falls down some kind of shaft about 25 feet. You know what Sean Connery does? He just goes, kind of flexes his shoulder muscle a little. Had that been Pierce Brosnan, it would have been 10 minutes of, I mean, come on, man, comb your hair and get out of here. Actually, they did get rid of him, didn't they? They didn't even have there must have been issues there, because he didn't get like a meeting and they said, sorry, Pierce, it isn't working out. He got a phone call. Bye. Anyway, enough of my rambling on about James Bond. I hope you've enjoyed it, and until the next time, bye. Hello?